For the Cultural Frontline, the novelist Burhan Sönmez, author of the novel Istanbul, Istanbul, considers how the atmosphere in the city he calls home is changing.
There are some places that we fall for before we have ever seen them. I knew Istanbul through stories, novels, paintings and songs. I came here age 17 to start university. It was not easy for a boy like me. The speed, the enormity, the chaos of the city was a world away from where I grew up, a small provincial town in the middle of Anatolia. It felt like I had simultaneously traveled forward in time to a dynamic modern metropolis and backwards to the fanciful arena of glories and myths. But they were not easy times for the people of Turkey either. There had been a military coup in 1980, a couple of years before. A heavy atmosphere still smothered the city, suffocating its spirit. Curfews, prohibitions, tortures, and book burnings were part of daily life. The army's harsh intervention had brought time to an agonizing halt. But despite all this, I, like so many others, had dreams in my heart. I looked forward in my imagination to another way of life. I knew Istanbul would never be a calm city to live in, but Istanbul has always left room for the imagination. Some writers conceive Istanbul as a junction of historical geographies, the meeting point of East and West. Some see it as an exotic land of desire and mysticism and relate it to the imperial glories of eras past. Turkish poet Yahya Kemal and novelist Ahmet Hamdi Tanpınar and Orhan Pamuk have approached Istanbul from different perspectives. In my writing, I portray the city as the unification point of time and space and the melting pot of opposing tendencies in life. I prefer not to talk about past golden ages. When you begin to live in Istanbul, you feel three different people alive in your chest. One wants to be a tyrant, the other is ready to be a servant, while the third was born to rebel. They tug against each other, sometimes reluctantly and sometimes with violence. Instead of seeking refuge in history, I want to talk about those people living now, today, inside a single body. Istanbul as a metropolitan city is not only the heart of this country, but also its future. The beautiful and the ugly in Istanbul represent alternative paths for our society. That's why it's now also the heart of our politics. The tyrannical tendency is ascendant, establishing its dominance with money, religion and oppression, and justifying its rule in terms of a comforting and empowering story of the nation's past. Society's majority, inspired by this vision, or else both of or deterred by force, has accepted the role of servant for now. There is a battle raging for Istanbul's future between those who value the city's present and those fixated on its past. Paradoxically, conservative people and ruling party are changing the face of the city by destroying green areas to build motorways and skyscrapers for the sake of so-called development, while always expressing their feelings for the glorious past. They are not aware that when they despise the value of the present, they also weaken attachment to the past and devalue the gains that have been achieved over time. If Golden Age fantasies cause you to despise the here and now with all its messiness and imperfections, then you should be ready to lose what beauty now exists. We want everything to have the essence of beauty, not only in the streets, but also in the culture, in the economic and political programs. Does government understand this? I don't think so. When people call for beauty in Istanbul, the responses they get are police, tear gas, and the rise of construction firms in the stock market. In recent months, 6 bomb attacks claimed about 200 lives in Turkey. Last 3 attacks were in Istanbul. We have been turning into a divided society, unfortunately. Nobody trusts others. Violence, corruption, civil war are contaminating our society. People see no way out and feel desperate. I believe that the real democracy means the existence of bridges and common fields that everyone can use and meet each other. But our society lost its common fields and is now ripped apart. Here, you belong to either one extreme discourse or another. Now we have a question of to be or not to be. That is, are we going to be a democratic country of freedom or a country of oppression and corruption? In the tales of my childhood, there was always a place for heroes to suffer and emancipate. Istanbul is now the site of both suffering and emancipation, in our politics as well as our literature. We continue to imagine better presents and writing about Istanbul with the hope that its beauty will shape our future.
Burhan Sönmez.